All right, I am here with Trish, legal name Trish
Mandewo.
Mandewo. It is Thursday, June 22nd, and we are here at Mackin House. So Trish, could you please tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So, as you mentioned, my name is Teresai. That's how you pronounce it. It's Teresai Mandewo. And I'm a resident of Coquitlam now for the past 8 years, almost 9. And I am a mother of one, my wonderful daughter. Her name is Alexandra. She goes by Lexi Mandewo. And I'm also a wife to my wonderful husband, Alexander Mandewo. Going back to Lexi. Lexi is in grade 7, and she's at Summit Middle School. And a little more about me. I'm a businesswoman now, but by profession, I'm an embryologist. I worked as an embryologist in the United States for 10 years. Before that, I was a laboratory scientist in microbiology. So I come from a science background, but along the way, when I decided I didn't want to work anymore, I wanted to start my family. Then I transitioned from working as an embryologist to starting my own business. And then I moved to Canada.
Wonderful. So, what do you do for work and or volunteerism now? So you mentioned your business, and you can expand on that. What type of special knowledge, skills, abilities are needed for the type of work that you do as an entrepreneur?
Oh, how much time do you have for that one?
We could do a whole session.
We can do a whole session on that. So what I do for business, I own 2 businesses and 1 nonprofit. My first business is Vancouver Tumble Bus, which is a gym on wheels for kids, and we do fitness and entertainment for kids, and it's mobile. My second business, I am co-owner with my wonderful 2 partners, Sandra Horton and Dana Harvey. We co-founded the Tri-Cities Women's Collaborative Hub, whereby we do leadership training for women as well as mentorship for women. My third hat is Sensory Bus, which I started a nonprofit called Sensory Bus Society of BC. And that was a spin-off from Tumble Bus, because kids that have sensory processing disorders kind of get overwhelmed when they go to a regular gym or when they use the Tumble Bus. So the parents were telling me, it would be so nice if you had a bus that had sensory equipment so our kids can be comforted. So we actually did focus groups and found out that, this was a very much needed service. So I founded the Sensory Bus Society of BC in 2016. And so those are my 3 hits. You had another question, was that?
Oh, it was what special knowledge, skills, and abilities are needed for that type of work?
For the type of work that I do. For Tumble Bus, really just being passionate about kids. That said, I don't work my own business. Actually, all the businesses that I've started, besides the Women's Hub, I always start a business and then I've got people to work for me. People that have the passion to work with the kids and people that have the heart for the kids. So really just passion. And I believe that that's the case with any business that you start. You just got to have the passion to do. Yeah, got to love what you do, right? Yeah. And you said volunteerism, so I haven't covered that.
Okay.
Volunteerism, the whole list. So I sit on the City of Coquitlam Multiculturalism Committee, and I'm also a board of directors on the Tri-Cities Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
As well, I am a board of director on the Coquitlam Tennis Club.
Okay.
You're one in just current, right? Okay. So Coquitlam Tennis Club, and
You can talk about some of the volunteer positions that helped you get to these areas of interest, if you'd like.
Okay. Yeah, and I also sit on the Early Childhood Development Committee.
Sorry, say that.
Early Childhood
Early Childhood
Development Committee. And previously, I was a vice president of communications for the Tri-Cities Chamber of Commerce Toastmasters International. And I also was an ambassador for the Chamber of Commerce. And I was a competition chair for the Senior Games that just finished in 2016. And I was president of Coquitlam Tennis Club. And I was a director for the Ladies Tennis Interleague Club for BC. As well.
Lots of interest in that.
I was going to say, I paraphrased. There's so many.
A lot of passions as well.
Thank you. There's so many other ones that I didn't list, but I'm sure that's enough there. But there's one big one that you need to put. I'm a mentor.
Right.
For women starting businesses, as well as for kids in high school that take the entrepreneurship program.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what type of mentorship do you do? Is it with the school district helping these students in high school?
So the one in high school is through Yale, through
okay.
Young Entrepreneurs Leadership Launchpad.
Okay. I was writing the acronym here.
And I also do a lot of speaking to new immigrant groups,
Okay.
like to mentor them and to, kind of empower them as they get into their new country.
Okay, and I bet that's something that when you came to Canada from even the U.S. and from your hometown, that it was probably helpful to have someone like that in your life, and maybe we'll get into that later, and it's good that you are someone like a mentor for someone else who's, again, a new immigrant to Canada, or finishing high school and wanting to start a business, and
Exactly.
it's good to have a mentor out there like that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So for you, and I'm sure your day-to-day life changes every day, but on a typical day, what does that look like for you, owning all these businesses and being part of all these boards and volunteering? What is a typical day for you?
Yeah, so the typical day currently has been, I found my new passion in water aerobics.
Okay.
So after my daughter goes to school, by 8:45, I get ready for my water aerobics class, which starts at 9:30, and I do water aerobics from 9:30 to 10:30, and I go home and I get ready and eat, and then I start my meetings. So most of my days are just meeting after meeting, and then at 3:00 I stop so I can pick up my daughter from school. I take her home and take her to her activities, and we do the whole dinner thing. And then, except if my husband is home, then he does it. But typically that's what happens. And then we have dinner, and I play tennis as well. So I play some tennis, and then I come home and I work again. And my day ends about 10:30.
So you're up at around probably 7:30?
I am up. No, 7:30 would be nice. I'm trying to do that, but it's more like 8.
8, okay.
I'm not a morning person.
That gives you some time to get your daughter ready out the door and into your class. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, so next one here.
Is that me?
It's from outside.
But,
We've got some noises here. What do you value most about what you do? You mentioned passion. Is there anything else that you value about the businesses that you run and the mentorship that you do?
Yeah. If I can, I guess, lump them all. If they are lumped together, I just love helping others. And I love giving back, because with everything that I do, there's an aspect where I don't get paid for some of the stuff that I do. But it's because I like passing it forward, because somebody else has helped me along the way.
Right.
That's one part. And then, of course, you mentioned the passion. And as well, especially when it comes to kids' fitness, it's something that I didn't have. And I struggle now. And I really, really would like to stand on top of the mountain to say, you know, kids need to be active in order to have, you know, a healthy life in their adulthood.
That's very important. You kind of forget about it, and when you don't have it, it's detrimental to your health if you haven't, you know, grown up exercising and being active or learning about it, right?
Yeah.
So it's very important that, you know, you're part of all these groups that help to educate people and help kids be active, and even the ones who have sensory deprivation disorders that
they also need that.
Yeah, that they
very
get
much
that
so.
help too.
Very much so.
All right, so this one might be a tricky one, but 3 keywords to describe yourself.
To describe myself, inspiring, empowering, leader.
Those are all good words. All right. Did you always live in Coquitlam? So this gives you a little bit of a chance to open up about your journey to Coquitlam and when you first moved here and all of that. So did you always live in Coquitlam?
No, I did not. Wish I did. I would have gotten a better house, and reasonable price house.
Before the market exploded.
I know. I moved here in 2009, in June of 2009.
That's your anniversary of Coquitlam this month?
Yeah. So actually when we moved from Oklahoma, and when I was doing the research, because my husband had come here for work and we decided we were going to come here. So we actually came by road. We drove.
Oh, wow.
But we took vacation and decided to, we knew we were coming here, but we decided to go to Ontario first and then drive the whole of Canada and just stop in every city. And we thought, if something changes, we might just
stop along the way and stay there.
Yeah. So we were traveling for like a month. When we did our research, we thought Abbotsford was the best place to be. Having lived in the US with the highways, we were like, there's a highway. And my husband was going to be working downtown, so we can live in Abbotsford. It's 35 kilometers away. Or was it 35 miles? I don't know. But it was doable.
Yes.
We're going, that's a short drive.
Yeah.
We can do that. So we went to Abbotsford and, stayed in a hotel for a couple of days. And talking to the receptionist, and we told him that my husband was going to, we told her that my husband was going to be working in Vancouver. And then she said, wow, you're going to do that? That's crazy. And I'm going, but doesn't it take a short time? And she goes, no, with the traffic and this and that, no, it's going to be a long drive. Back and forth, and we're going, we better try that drive.
Yeah, and I don't think the bridge was completed at that point.
No, it wasn't. So we actually took the drive and we're going, cancel that. And our things had arrived at that time. That was after 1 week. So we had actually put all our stuff in the storage. We had to pick up. And so what happened to get to Coquitlam? So we drove to Vancouver and we went to a coffee house and we're talking to people. We're going, we just moved from the US and we're trying to find a place to live. And this one person said, don't listen to anybody. Go to Coquitlam. Coquitlam is the best place to live, and you're this much from downtown and this and that. And he just says, go check it out.
Yeah.
And sure enough, on our way from downtown, we drove into Coquitlam and we drove around and we said, it feels like home. And we decided to move here.
It's a good thing you talked to that person.
I know. It's so meant to be, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
That was a long answer.
That's a good answer. So describe the place where you grew up and what it was like, how it has changed over the years, and what places stand out most in your mind and why. What are or were your neighbors like? What kinds of local gatherings or events did you attend? And maybe as you answer these, you can compare and contrast them to your home now here in Coquitlam versus Oklahoma.
Yeah, definitely. So I grew up in Harare, Zimbabwe. And growing up, when I was growing up, it was all the time where there was a war. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of turmoil going on. So I have memories of sleeping against the wall, to avoid the windows because they would throw, objects and fire bombs, through the window. So I remember sleeping on the side, and I remember a lot of witchcraft being discussed, and people just instilled so much fear in you that we actually had a neighbor that everybody said was a witch, and I just remember growing up very terrified of that woman and would not even get anywhere close to the house. And I grew up in a neighborhood which was very poor. They call them high density areas where the houses are smaller and closer together. And so that's where I grew up. But there was a very big sense of community in there. Like everybody, like they've always said, for the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. Mm-hmm. Everybody in the neighborhood was responsible for us children. So, you didn't do anything thinking your parents were not there, because if another mom saw you, you were in trouble kind of thing. Right? So there was a great sense of community. There was lots of happiness. Even though we didn't have much, we were happy. And I just remember we didn't have, I know there's a question coming later, but we didn't have any toys. We just made our own. We made our own dolls. Mm-hmm. We made our own balls using plastic. We would take plastic and just tie it together until we have a ball. That's kind of my neighborhood in a nutshell. There was never any organized activity like the festivals that we have here. Okay. Oh my gosh, that's one of my favorite things here is, summer and the festivals. Mm-hmm. We didn't have that. The only gatherings that would happen were sports related. Okay. Like if the school is competing in netball or soccer, which were the only two sports at my school then when I was young. It was netball and soccer, Everybody came to that and they sang and they cheered. We did our own cheerleading. There was never any formalized cheerleading either. Yeah, so, and then contrast that to Coquitlam. Same, the welcoming atmosphere is here. I love that. And I love the multiculturalism in Coquitlam. I think that's another question, but I shouldn't. And all the kids meeting at the park, like when we moved here, my daughter was too young. Mm-hmm. And when you went to the park, you knew I'm an outgoing person, so I get there and I talk. Yeah. Right? I always went there and my daughter left with a friend and I left with a friend. So that's something really special about Canada and Coquitlam, really. And if I can contrast that to the US, I'd moved from the US. It was totally different. In Oklahoma, you couldn't go to the park. You could get there and leave without talking to anybody. Right? Whereas, here it's so welcoming and so relaxed and so warm. Yeah.
It's good to hear you say such nice things about Coquitlam.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
All right. So, and I think you covered this a bit, but you can expand if you'd like. The next question is, where else have you lived, and what did you like about it, and what didn't you like?
Yep. So I lived in Oklahoma. That's where I went to school and had my daughter there. What did I like? Well, things are cheaper in the U.S. and the housing market also is, affordable. Mm-hmm. I could even afford. We had a rental house when we were there. besides our own house, right? You fast forward and you come here, but that's another question. What do you like about over there? So I liked, those two things. What didn't I like? I always felt like an intruder. I never really felt welcomed in Oklahoma. My neighbors, in your neighborhood, it was okay. But if I, like the dreams that I have here, I could never have had them. Or I never had them in Oklahoma. Because, I just constantly was reminded I'm not American. Even though I was there, you always reminded you're a foreigner. It didn't help that Oklahoma has a lot of Mexican immigrants coming, and there was a big anti-Mexican / anti-immigrant thing that always happened over there. So, what else was I trying to say? So I never really felt at home. I felt like I was in transition constantly.
Right.
Hence, in my early 40s, I decided, what, if I'm going to get old, I need to get old in a place. So we were actually checking it out. If we didn't like it, I was going to return to Zimbabwe, even though that wasn't a very good option. But I just wanted something. I wanted a place where I could just feel like I belonged.
Right.
So this was, when we landed here, we were in search of that. Yeah.
All right, so what was your first impression of Coquitlam? And have you changed your opinion of your first impression at all?
So funny enough, the first day that we got here, after we went in, I know the guys from the moving company unloaded things. So we decided to go to the grocery store. So we went to Save On Foods. I need to tell Richard this. I haven't told him the story. So we went to Save On Foods. And right in front of Save On Foods, there was a barbecue. And it was a share barbecue. They were fundraising. So we went there and got a hot dog for my daughter, and then Richard comes over, and Mayor Richard, and then he goes, "Hi, my name is Richard. I'm the mayor." And I'm going, "Oh, hi." And then we started chatting, and when we told him, we just moved here today, and he goes, "Oh, welcome to Coquitlam, and this and this and this," and then he started introducing us to other people that were there, that were coming by. And I remember thinking, wow, we came to the right place. Even the mayor comes and just talks to you, and so warm and nice place. And so that was our first impression. And then also, the very first day, we looked up tennis, because my husband and I love tennis. And there was a social that was going on at the Coquitlam Tennis Club. And that evening, we went there, and we told them we had just moved. And oh my gosh, everybody was just so excited for us. And, we had matches, and we interacted with people. And we said, wow, this is so nice. So that was our first impression. And no, it has not changed. It has only gotten better from that. Very welcoming.
All right. So why do you live in Coquitlam, and what motivated you to move here? And you touched a little bit on these, but you can expand again. So why you live in Coquitlam, and your motivation to move here?
Why do I live here? Because I love it. Why do I love it? Because location. I like the fact that we are right at the foot of the mountain, and it's by train now 25 minutes to downtown, and we can go to the ocean when we want to. We can go to to the beach up on White Pine if we want to. We can go to the trails. There's so much. And it's a good size city.
All right, so.
I should say I love the suburban feel.
Suburban, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I know the answers to this one, but do you love your city? Why do you love your city, or why don't you?
Oh yeah, I think we can cut that one. Yeah. Yes, I love it. Why do I love it? Because of all the things that we mentioned, really.
Yes.
I don't think.
All right, and number 12, what is your favorite thing about Coquitlam? It may be hard to choose one, but maybe something stands out as your favorite thing about Coquitlam.
The community sense. The sense of community. And as a businesswoman, I love the business community, especially through the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
You know, we just truly support each other. I also just love the trails. My favorite being, you know, I think you're gonna have a different question, so maybe I better not mention it now.
Okay. All right, moving on then. Is there anything that you don't like?
Is there anything that I don't like? Expensive housing. I would love to have more affordable housing. And also, what I don't like, I've been learning since I sit on the multiculturalism committee and learning about the, it's not Ketsi, it's the Coquitlam,
Yes.
the First Nations. That situation that's there with the First Nations, I don't like that.
Yeah, it can be improved upon, is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of history, but you know, when you hear bits and pieces, and so far we've had one side, right? Like they actually came and presented to us.
Okay.
And you feel sorry for them, right? And I just wish there's something that we can do about that.
Did you end up attending any of the All Nations Festival events?
No, it just started yesterday, right? I'm hoping.
I think it ended yesterday.
Oh, it ended yesterday.
Yeah. It was, I think, the 17th to the 21st.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, no, I didn't. I know I didn't get to.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, but they came and presented
Yeah, that's good.
to us, so it was kind of nice.
And that was at the Multicultural Committee?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What does Coquitlam mean to you?
Coquitlam means home. Smelly river and all. You can put it that way.
Smelling river.
Yeah.
They used to call brunette, and the story is because the river that ran around this area from the Brunette Creek, at least, was the color brown. So they called it the Brunette River because it was a dark, muddy river that I guess was very turbulent. And so when you said it was a smelling river, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Of course, you know, the Coquitlam means smelly river, right? Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. The meaning for Coquitlam is smelly river.
Smelling river.
Yeah.
I always thought it was redfish up the river.
That's the other one also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's also called smelly river.
Full of redfish, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's smelly red fish.
Smelly redfish. Okay.
Yeah.
I think question 15 is a duplicate, so number 16. What is your most memorable moment in Coquitlam?
Oh, but the one number 16 is not quite a duplicate because I've got a different answer for that.
What does Coquitlam mean to you? What does Coquitlam mean to you? Did I say?
Oh, I thought the one was what does Canada mean to you?
Oh, Canada. That's right. Go ahead. What does Canada mean to you? I apologize.
That's okay. So, to me, Canada means the safe place. I just became a citizen in 2016.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. And when I just look at the scenery that we have, or the nature that we have surrounding us, and the love for the nature that Canadians have, and the giving heart that we Canadians have, it just blows my mind. I mean, I just love that. And that's what Canada is, you know, the giving, the love of nature, and, you know, the welcoming. Yeah.
And what is your most memorable moment in Coquitlam?
I struggled with that one. I'm going most memorable moment in Coquitlam. Actually, I was supposed to think about it when I was driving, but I didn't.
And your first day experience sounded pretty memorable as well. Your first day in Coquitlam.
Yeah.
Perhaps there's a festival that you had attended, or something someone had said in meetings or through your work.
I think I would say, when is this going to be written?
It'll probably go up for display August, September.
Oh, in August, okay. So it'll be after. So I just found out that I'm one of the top 25 Canadian immigrants.
Congratulations on that as well.
Thank you. So that they just called me last week to let me know, but it's not public.
Oh, okay.
It won't be announced until June 27.
Okay.
So, but that's why I was asking when it's.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, actually, when they called me and they told me that,
Mm-hmm.
I actually went for a walk, and I was looking at the mountains to the north and just looking to the valley and,
Mm-hmm.
Just absorbing what I have in Coquitlam.
Mm-hmm.
And Coquitlam has given me that platform to do all the stuff that I've done that have made me earn this top 25 Canadian immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't because of the platform that I got here,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have been able to shine or to achieve what I have achieved.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at it as the memorable moment is that day because I managed to sit back and look back at what I've achieved
Mm-hmm.
and what I have done.
And what 3 keywords would you use to describe Coquitlam?
3 keywords. Beautiful. Friendly. And I would say centrally located. I mean, but that's not, no, don't put that. What other adverbs can you use for?
So you have beautiful, friendly, and you like the fact that it's well situated in proximity probably to trails, to downtown, to...
Yeah, I see, but you have to explain
nature.
it.
I know.
I'm trying to find one word. If it was a sentence, I could do it. But accessible.
Okay. All right, and then the next one is, what languages do you speak? Do you speak different languages in different settings? Are there any expressions, jokes, stories, celebrations where certain language is preferred? And can you give me some examples?
So, I speak English. I mean, let me start with my language. I speak Shona.
How do you spell that?
Shona. I
Okay.
speak Ndebele. Ndebele. I speak English and a little bit of Spanish.
Okay. And then are there certain situations where you are speaking Spanish, Shona, or Ndebele?
Ndebele. So, Shona, when I speak with my husband,
Okay.
we always, we speak what we call Shonglish, which is an English of,
Yeah.
our language in English. And I laughed when you said what situations. If I'm talking about someone, then
you want to keep secrets?
Yeah, exactly. If I don't want someone to hear what I'm saying,
Yeah.
then I'll do that. So, and I do that too to get my daughter to. She doesn't
Okay.
speak it.
Oh, okay. Does
So-
she understand it though?
Now she's getting to.
Okay.
Especially because if we want to say something and I don't want her to know, then I go to speaking our language.
Mm-hmm.
Then she's going, I'm going to learn it. So, yeah, so that situation. Spanish, I speak it when I had my company in the US. I had 18 employees, and I kind of was forced to learn it. So I speak more trades Spanish, right? Like I can get them to do, like if I want someone to do
more like
something.
Instructions,
like yeah, but not conversational.
And then for I have trouble pronouncing Mandele. Do you speak that with your husband as well?
No, he doesn't speak it either.
Oh, okay.
So I only speak it when I speak with one of my friends who is in Hawaii that speaks it. That's the only time that I get to speak it.
Is it rare to find someone who does speak it?
Yeah, because I really don't have it. Like I think there's an African community, Zimbabwean community here, but I don't know where they are. Yeah, we're not connected. Yeah.
Do you have family or friends left back home in Zimbabwe that you call and speak with them?
Yeah, Ndebele is actually, my language is Shona. So Ndebele is spoken in a different region of Zimbabwe. Okay. So my family doesn't speak Ndebele. My dad spoke it.
Oh, I see.
But he's late now.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
So I'd say, between both the Spanish and the Ndebele, I'm actually losing it over the years, right? If you don't speak it.
Mm-hmm. I had taken French in university and haven't used it in 8 years or so, and
you forget it.
You forget it and you get rusty.
I know.
And you want to find those people who can speak it and well enough that you can, again, converse with them and keep it going.
Yeah, but what happens when I was facilitating workshops in US also when I first got here, and I had Spanish-speaking people. And I'm like, you speak to me in Spanish, but they want to learn their English, so they won't speak to you in Spanish.
Yeah.
Which, I understand.
That happens with all languages. I'll go to visit my relatives in Croatia, and they'll speak Croatian. Actually, they don't even want to learn English because they're embarrassed of their English. Their English is better than my Croatian. So I try to get them to speak English, but they try to get me to speak Croatian. So they'll try to speak to me in English, and I'll try to speak to them in Croatian. So we're speaking our second languages to each other. First language.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. We did 18, 19. What are some of your childhood memories? What games did you play as a child? What kinds of toys did you use? What kind of entertainment did you have at home? Was there storytelling in your home? Were there craft traditions, music traditions? And can you describe them? So this kind of goes back to one of those questions about did you always live in Coquitlam when you had talked about growing up in Zimbabwe? So you can give me some more information if you'd like to.
Yeah. So childhood memories.
You had mentioned making your own toys.
Yeah. We played a lot though. Lots of playing. We did our chores. As soon as we were done with our chores, we were out, and it was all outdoor playing. We hardly ever played inside. And I just have the memories in Zimbabwe, the windows are always open.
Okay.
So it's like the feel, whether you're outside or inside, is kind of the same feel. So we just gravitated to playing outside. The most common games we did, someone just told me the name of it here, because I've got the name in my country, which won't be relevant. It's a game where you have a string, and two people put the string around like their legs, and then one person jumps in and jumps out. And then they crisscross, and then you pull it up. You start from the ankles, and then you go to the knees.
I've seen it on
and then
TV.
you go up here.
I've never played it, and I don't know the name.
Yeah,
but I know what you're talking
I'll
about.
find the name, and then I'll email it to you.
Okay, sounds good.
So that's one of the games. And then we call it nodo, where we would put a hole in the ground, and you put stones in. And then you throw one stone and take them out, and you do one. You start by one, and then you go to two.
Kind of like a makeshift jacks game.
Yeah. So that, and then we also played a lot of netball. And soccer. So those were the games. What else? What games did you play as a child? And the funny thing though with me is early on, maybe up to about grade 5, I would play a lot. But after that, I just didn't like the fact that we were poor and my dad worked so hard that I knew that education would take me out. So I was very studious.
Okay.
I would sometimes skip the play so I can study. And we ended up, like I was an all A's student all the way because I just put my heart and soul in it.
Right.
Yeah. What kinds of toys? What kind of entertainment did you have at home? At home, music. The other thing was music.
Okay.
We always, a typical day, we looked forward to, eating and then dancing.
Oh, okay.
Like you put music and you just dance. And when we got together as a family, there's always food and then dancing.
Did anyone play instruments, or was it always kind of
No.
on the radio, or
We sang.
sing along?
Yeah, we didn't have. Oh no, I take it back. The drums, and they
okay.
would use anything from a pot to.
Okay.
They can play any drums on anything. Yeah. And then storytelling. It's huge, huge.
Okay.
My dad was such a storyteller. He was very well versed in so many things. Like growing up, he would be reading the New York Times and he would be reading, newspapers from all around the world. And then he would have us sit and be telling us about what's going on around the world. But more so, the stories that I enjoyed the most was when he was telling us about his stories when he was growing up. Because we thought we were poor, but you hear his story and then you're going, oh my gosh, we have it good.
Right.
Because he was an orphan and had to be taking care of himself when he was like 8 years old, and so he would tell us those stories. And he would tell us how he tricked people, or how he got out of bad situations, by running on foot, and how he would meet lions and climb on the tree to avoid them and play dead. And, so yeah, he would tell us all those stories. And that was really a big part. And what he did too is he really had dreams for us kids. And he knew we needed to be fluent in English in order to get out of Zimbabwe. So he would make us read the newspaper, and then we had to tell what we read in our own words to him.
Okay.
And I remember that's how we used to, practice the English. Or sometimes you'd have us read something in our language, and then you say, now tell me that in English. Right? And we just kind of be sitting there and having fun with it and laughing at ourselves. And, yeah.
Yeah, it's really great when you have someone who has a natural knack for storytelling.
Yeah.
It makes it more captivating and easy to listen to. And
yeah, and my dad too, he was one of the elders in his family. So, like, if you got him started on the, what's the word for English word? Family tree.
Okay.
Family tree. Because we have like a complex family tree with the great grandparents having several wives and and then the kids, and he would get into that. If you got him started, he could speak for 5 hours telling you about the family tree and what happened to this one and this, and yeah, he was really a great storyteller. Yeah.
That's great to hear. All right, the next one is, what holiday traditions are celebrated in your family?
We did on the music traditions.
Okay.
The most common, the other thing that's really common is marimba, in Zimbabwe. And from an early age, I was a marimba dancer.
Oh.
So I remember different presidents of different countries coming to visit. Our school was the only school that had the instruments, the whole ensemble.
Oh.
So we had to go and receive dignitaries from other countries And the people, the boys will be playing, and us girls, we were the dancers, and then we would dance and kind of see these dignitaries from afar, and then our job is done, and then we have to go home.
Yeah.
Never got to see them all up close. They would just kind of walk from there and kind of just wave at you, and then they go.
It's still an experience.
I know.
Something to remember.
I know.
Okay, so you did mention the musical traditions, so I'll get into the next question. So what holiday traditions are celebrated in your family? Are there special customs, songs, or foods? Has your family created its own celebration traditions? What are they? How did they come about?
So the two holidays that we always celebrated were Easter and Christmas. And Easter was more on the religious side, who would go to church. And most of the time, the family would get together and eat after church. Christmas, we had Father Christmas. Unlike over here where you have Santa Claus, ours was Father Christmas. And we actually, we would take stockings, like white socks, and then that's where they'd fill the socks with little toys and with candy, and then tie the little socks on the tree. And also the other thing that was very, very unique about our Christmas is that's when you got new clothes.
Oh, okay.
You might have gotten something in between, but it didn't matter. What was more important is the clothes that you got for Christmas, because you got the best of the best for Christmas. And so on Christmas morning, you woke up and you bathed and you were ready. And then sometimes my mom liked to surprise us so that we only saw the dress on that day.
Oh, okay.
And then you put on your beautiful dress, and then other family members will come, and then it will be a feast. And then we dance afterwards. We never met and ate and then didn't dance. It's always you meet, you talk, you eat, and then you put music and you dance. So those were, I know.
And
so those were the two.
With Father Christmas, did he come on Christmas or on a saint holiday before then?
Oh, he never came.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just talked about it.
Oh, okay.
I think kids that were well off went into the city, and then you would have like a Santa Claus.
Okay.
Oh no, I take it back. He never came to you, but before that, you would go into town.
Okay.
And Father Christmas would be sitting there, and then you would sit on Father Christmas's lap.
Okay.
Kind of like you do with Santa.
So instead of calling it Santa Claus, it was
Father Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't do that often, but we did it.
Okay.
We would go, and then you'd be like, I sit on Father Christmas's lap. Silly things that we do as kids.
It gets all the kids excited. So.
I know. Except my daughter, when she was in grade 1, my husband says to my daughter and said, he's fake, right? I'm like, why would you do
Why
that?
didn't you wait a couple more years?
I know. Now she gets him. She goes,
I hope she took it well.
You're ruined. Yeah, she was disappointed, and then she's like, oh, fine, as long as I get my presents.
So what special food or culinary traditions does your family have? Have any recipes been preserved or passed down in your family from generation to generation? Have any of the ingredients adapted or changed? Why? Are there certain foods that are traditionally prepared for holidays or celebration? Who makes them? Are there family stories connected with the preparation of these special foods?
Yep. So, on the food side, I remember my grandmother's cooking was so good. It was more of the Dutch oven type of cooking, but they didn't have a Dutch oven. But what they would do is they would make the ashes hot, and then they would have the sand and kind of make do Dutch oven. And the bread that she used to make from that was amazing. And were the recipes preserved? No.
You had to pass it down. You had to watch.
You had to pass it down. So now with people living in the city, that has changed. That bread is not made anymore.
Yeah.
People just go buy the regular bread, which is very disappointing. The other thing that is very symbolic of our culture is what we call sadza. It's a mash made out of cornmeal.
Okay.
Excuse me, I still make it here. It doesn't need a recipe. It's very easy to make. And, it always comes with a stew.
Okay.
So over the years, people just changed the stews. When I was growing up, it was just tomato, onion, salt, and pepper. And then you fried your meat first, and then you put your tomatoes, your onions, and that, and then you had vegetables on the side. We still do the same, but now sometimes we just grill the meat.
Right.
Skip the sauce, and sometimes you add more other peppers, and something that my husband and I has taken from that is now we make it really spicy because we just like spice. So we've kind of changed the recipe to very spicy. And another traditional food that we have is peanut butter rice.
Okay.
Yeah. So you cook peanut butter and you salt it, and then you put the you cook the rice, put peanut butter, and then you have to really mash it in so that you won't see the peanut butter. You can taste it, but it's totally mixed with the rice. And just slice it off, and it's great when it's cold. It's great when it's hot.
So
you can use it.
Is it dessert then?
No,
Or a main course?
It's a main course.
Oh.
You can just put it on the side like we do with the sadza. With the sadza, we kind of put it on it's hard to do. Like mashed potatoes. Just put it there.
Yeah.
And then you put your meat on the side, and you put veggie on the side. So you do the same with the peanut butter rice too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we also use it for breakfast. So if you had made the peanut butter rice at night, and when it's cold in the morning, now what I do is I put it in a bread loaf, and I just slice slices, and then you can just take a slice and have it with your coffee. It's one of my favorite things. I love the peanut butter rice.
Anything with peanut butter, you can't go wrong.
I know.
And where did you learn how to make that?
From my mom.
Your mom.
Yeah.
And are any of these dishes specific to certain holidays or special days, or mostly just everyday?
So sadza is the everyday.
Okay.
So
how do you spell that?
SADZA.
Okay.
So that one we ate it every day for dinner, especially.
Okay.
Lunch, sometimes it was sadza, sometimes you would just have some sandwich or eggs or whatever it is. But sadza is an everyday thing. Okay. Most families actually in Zimbabwe, they have the sadza twice a day, for lunch and for dinner, for dinner. Breakfast is always porridge, and our porridge is cornmeal with peanut butter. That's why we don't have any peanut allergies. Because even a child, when they're getting off of breastfeeding, or even when they're still breastfeeding, they're fed the porridge, which has it would be cornmeal, peanut butter, a little bit of sugar, and a little bit of salt.
Sounds so good.
So I know. So breakfast is porridge and tea.
Okay.
We as a country, we were not coffee drinkers, but tea drinkers.
Any particular types of teas? Black
tea.
Herbals?
Black tea. Yeah, we do black tea with milk. Yeah. So the everyday meal was sadza. So on special occasions, then you made rice.
Okay.
And the rice is always served with the meat with the stew, which is kind of the same stew that we make for sadza. But also on special occasions, we do what we call braai, which is grilling.
Okay. You're making me hungry. What historical events have affected your family and community? These can be various wars, things from you remember in Oklahoma or in Coquitlam, maybe the Olympics, natural disasters, political changes, and you can feel free to speak about what you feel comfortable.
So remember when I told you when we were growing up, there was, the war. We were under the British rule, and the Zimbabwean government, the blacks were trying to get the power back from Britain. So with that fighting, what it did very early on, I really hardly knew my mom because when I was 5 years old, she stayed in the country with three of my sisters. Actually, no, 5 of my sisters. And my dad and I were in the city with my other sister, who is number 3. So the 3 of us were in the city, and the rest were in the country. And with the landmines and everything, we went for years. Mom couldn't come. We couldn't go. And my dad tried one time to go, and he was beaten up and thrown in jail trying to do so. So we knew it was very dangerous. So then we went for maybe 4 or 5 years without seeing each other. We were just in the city and they were there. Eventually, and my mom actually, to save my older sisters who were in the country, because what the people that were the bush warriors, whatever they call themselves, they would go and rape girls and make them their slaves, pretty much. So my mom actually was so brave because where my grandmother was living was a little safer. So she traveled in the middle of the night, going and hiding until I think she traveled for 2 days and went and left my sisters with grandma. And she had to go back because had she not been there, they were going to burn everything that we owned there. So she went back and she just said, they went to school. She got beaten up for it. But she said, the thing is, I was so happy that my kids were out of harm's way. So my other sisters were then with grandma for that long. And mom was there with one child. I think she kept my younger sister. And but we didn't see each other. And by the time the war finished or was kind of being subdued, mom came to the city with all my other sisters. And we were all together, and it was time for me to go to boarding school. So funny that one day I'm here walking with a friend, and my mom was coming to visit. And I was trying to think, I'm like, I don't really know my mom. This was the first time that my mom was coming to see me without my dad. And my dad and I were so close. So I'm going, what am I going to be talking to her about? And I said to my friend Karen, she's Canadian, and I said, what kind of a child am I that I'm wondering what I'm going to be talking to my mom about? So we got into talking on our walk, and I started counting back, and I said, oh my gosh, I really don't know my mom. I mean, if I added all the days that I spent with her, it was less than 2 years that we were together all my life until I went to the US for school. So I didn't really know her. And that was all because of the war. Right? The war separated us. It might not...
And was there no way of correspondence?
Oh, no. No, I mean, there was correspondence. We knew they were alive because what would happen is the bus drivers sometimes would manage to get through. Whoever managed to... Some people would know you go here and then you do that, and they would get there eventually. So when one person made it, the other ones would write letters and send back. And eventually my dad knew some people where he would send money so mom could survive. But actually what was happening is mom in the country was actually better off than us that were in the city, because around that same time when after the war, because the whites now had, a lot of them left Zimbabwe, my dad lost his job. We were homeless, like my sister and I and my dad, we were homeless for on and off for about 4 years. You would get there and they take everything and put it on the outside. And I didn't even know that I was homeless until a few years ago. One day I'm driving again, this is what coming to Canada has done for me. It's like you kind of peel the onions and you really get to, you see what you have now and you look back. So I was driving on Highway 1 going to receive an award. I had become finalist for the Small Business BC Awards. And they said, oh, prepare a speech. So I'm driving, and I never prepare speeches. I'm driving, and then I'm trying to think, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was homeless. I picked up the phone and called my sister, and I said, did you know we were homeless? And she goes, you just now realizing that? I'm like, I just thought we slept outside, but I didn't see that as being homeless, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no. But so war really did separate us. And I feel the same way like my older sister. I don't think I really know her. Because by the time then we got reunited, then she got married and she went away. And I'm number 6 in the family. So yeah, so the older sisters I don't really.
So you would have been closest to the one sister you had with your dad. Exactly.
She's pretty much the one that raised me because mom wasn't there. She was my mom.
How much older was she?
She's 19. She's 8 years older.
8 years older.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So funny. My birthday was 2 days ago, and then she texted. Then she goes, "Kali, you've always troubled me from the day you were born." She said, "The day that I was born, she had to deliver sadza, the meal, to mom in the hospital, and while she's walking to the hospital, it was like a 30-minute walk. She went through this field, and there was a bag that kind of squirts a little poison, and if it squirted on you, you get rush and you itch like crazy." She said, on my way there, that bag from nowhere just squirted on her. And she said, I had the biggest rush and I was so miserable and I still had to bring the meal to mom, So
it's
she
all
just
because you were born. She'll hold that over you forever.
I know. So yeah, so war definitely has impacted there. Natural disasters, political changes. Yeah, since the Mugabe, who is the dictator, he has been in power for almost all my life. Right? For the longest time, we couldn't go to Zimbabwe, because pretty much if you were outside, you considered that you were against him. And when I got married to my husband, his family was very political and anti the current government.
Right.
So their name was blacklisted. So I couldn't, I tried to keep my name for a while. I tried to hyphenate and this and that, and I'm going, So yeah, so that also impacted, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one. It is, what stories have you inherited through your parents? Do you have a favorite?
Stories.
And is there
Yes.
anything maybe that your father, a story your father told you that you've told to your daughter?
Yeah, I actually wrote a blog on the anniversary for my dad. Maybe if you need more, like as you write your thing, I'll send you the link to the blog where I wrote a story about my dad. His story as a child is very compelling. So his mom died when he was 2 years old, and his dad died shortly after. And he was raised. No, actually, it was his mom that died first, and then the second wife, who had killed his mom. When you've got polygamy, that's what was happening way back then. If one wife was jealous and they wanted to be the first one, because the first one always got treated well, then they killed you.
Oh, wow.
So my grandmother was killed when my dad was 2 years old, under 2 years. And this family that was taking care of him wouldn't give him any food. So he was living, corn, the leaves for the corn.
Okay, yeah.
From the very early age, he said he would be so hungry, he would just go and be eating any leaves that he knew were leaves from vegetables, whether it was pumpkin leaves or whatever leaves that he would eat. But that story, the way, let me go forward a little bit. So he's like that. By the time he's 7, he runs away from this family and goes to a nearby farm to look for a job. He gets the job heading cattle, and he's saving the money at 7.
It's amazing.
He's getting the
7
money.
years old and working.
Yep. saving the money, thinking of his sister, because my grandma had 2 kids, and he's saving the money for his sister, so she can, she can have food. And fast forward, I think he did that for a good 6 or 7 years. But at the same time, he also saved this money so he can send himself to school. So he went to this Catholic school called Kutama, which was a very good Catholic school. And he shows up. He's like 14 years old, and he wants to start grade 1. And they're going, but you can't. And he said, why not? And he said, I need to learn to read and I need to learn to write. And I've got the money. And he paid. He was in grade 1 for a few months, caught up so quickly, and then they skipped him. I mean, he was like skipping grades like every other month, pretty much, because he was so determined.
Right.
But this was all being done from the money that he had raised himself. So he was actually in the same class at one point with the president, with the idiot that we have as president now, who won't die. So yeah, they were in the same class for a while. And as soon as he got enough skills to where he could read and he could write, he left. And he and a friend of his decided to walk from the countryside where they were living, where the school was, actually from Wedza, which is where we lived. He walked for 7 days to get to the city, going to look for a job. And this was walking through forests they were following the railway line. That's how they knew they would get there. They didn't have any compass, they didn't know where they were going, but they knew if they followed the railway line, they would get there. So at night, they would climb up the tree and sleep on, like, they'll find a bigger tree and sleep on there so that they don't get eaten by the lions. And many times he said the lions would get the scent or whatever, and they would come and they'd be roaring and and so that story, every time he told me that. And by the way, let me finish a little bit. So he ends up getting to Harare, seeing it's hard to get jobs in Harare, so he goes all the way to South Africa to work in the mines. So he becomes a mine worker, and he misses his family so much. But what he does during the downtime when he's not working, he gets Bibles from different languages, and he studies languages by reading those Bibles. As a result, he ended up being fluent in Ndebele, in Xhosa, the South African language, English he taught himself, Swahili. He could speak like 7 different languages fluently up until he died in 92, all from teaching himself when he was working in the mines. So anyway, so that story always, to me, is a story of resilience. It's sorry, I get emotional. It's a story that
and I mean, when you're working, it's a great way to learn languages. I mean, when my grandmother came to Canada, she didn't speak English. She spoke Greek only, and she worked with other Greek people. And then she never really learned English. That I take her to the grocery store, to the bank, and I still have to translate for her. My grandfather, on the other hand, he went to Belgium, he went to Italy, he worked all over Europe in mines, he worked in a coal mine, and he learned Italian, he learned French, he learned English, and he spoke Greek.
There you go.
And he was able to converse with all the people he worked with, because you have people from all over coming to work at the mine. And so, you know, you learn how to say a few words and then a few more, and then you could put words together.
You used to tell the story, it's like, there was so much time, you get off work, what do you do, right? So so that was his entertainment.
Learning.
So that's, that's his story that he always told. And whenever he would feel defeated, whatever, he'll be like, I'm here. And they might not taking care of you. I went through all that, but I'm here. And education
at 7 years old, he went out and started all of that.
I mean, he's amazing. So that's from my dad's side of story. My mom's story, she kind of gets overshadowed a lot But she herself was a strong woman. And she tells the story that she was so good in netball. It was so important for schools to win the trophy. You know, even now it happens with basketball, whatever, right? Every school wants to win. She was so good in netball that they failed her three times. They kept failing her.
So that she could stay in
so she could stay in school.
Play that sport for their team.
Yeah. So, she has that story, and then she ends up not going to school after that. Her parents couldn't afford, so she got off. But her inspirational story is when she's almost 60 years old. She goes to the council in Harare, and she goes, I need to work as a policeman. And she's 60 years old. And they're like, but you're not trained in this. And she goes, I can be a community police. She ends up being a policewoman at 60. And I actually have pictures of her when she was, in the uniform. And then after that, she goes, I need another job. I need something that I can make money. She ends up being a director for a daycare. It's 65 or in her 60s. She ends up, going and doing this, and she had no training whatsoever, but she's like, I can do it. Just give me the chance, I can do it.
Yeah.
But, from her, I learned that you just don't let life control you. That you want something, you just ask for it, and you just go in, you just go out and get it and grab it.
Yeah.
Right?
That is inspirational.
Yeah. So...
And then how did your parents meet? He would have been down working in the mines, and then I'm assuming he came back?
Yeah. So that story, which is so funny because in my culture, there's a lot of lying that happens. I'm sure other cultures too.
Yeah.
To preserve. If they've got a secret, they don't want the secret out. So what happened was, my dad actually, I said there were three of them in his family. He had a younger brother. And the sister was in the middle. But most of the time, you worried about the girl. You didn't worry about the boy. So he had a brother. And the brother is the one that my aunt actually connected my mom and my dad's brother. For the two of them to date. Because my dad was in South Africa, right? So while they're dating, he gets an illness of some sort, my uncle, and he dies. But my aunt loves my mom so much, and he's going, we cannot just lose you. Why don't I call Cyril, my dad, because I think you're going to like him, and think you're going to marry him. So she finds a way of sending a message to South Africa to get there and say, your brother died, come back home.
Yeah.
My dad comes back home to...
Little does he know it's also a setup.
Exactly.
Blind date.
Exactly. And then he comes back and then meets my mom, and my mom was pregnant. And we didn't know. I didn't know until about 10 years ago. Only my mom and dad were visiting when I was in Oklahoma. And I'm going, do you have any family secrets? Is there anything that you want to tell me? And at that time, we had developed this rapport to where, I would just spend days just listening to them, telling me all these stories. And I said, what are some of the things that I don't know?
Yeah.
And before that, my dad had told me when he was called from South Africa, he actually had a daughter in South Africa with a South African woman. But something about, my dad wanted the child to have our name, and she said, no, that will not happen. And my dad tried to push it, and she ran away and took the child. And he never saw her again. So we don't know that sister.
Right.
So he gets called. Now, my mom is pregnant, and in my culture, they have a saying that says, I can't even translate it in English. But anyway, it says, it doesn't matter if the woman is pregnant. Yeah. It's a child. So he just embraced as if it was his own child. So my older sister is actually not my dad's, and she also only found not too long ago. She didn't know either. So that's how they met.
It's a very interesting story.
I know.
All right, we're almost at the end here. Are there any special heirlooms, photos, Bibles, or other memorabilia that have been passed down in your family?
Yes.
Just
We did have.
here.
Sure.
Hello, I'll just get someone to come greet you, okay?
Oh, sure, fine, thank you. Hi. I'm fine, how are you? My name is Bill Pemberton, and I'm researching
So yeah, we did have a Bible. That was my dad's,
Okay.
but it got stolen, unfortunately. But what I do have is his first Shakespeare, one of the earliest Shakespeare editions, because he was a Shakespeare fan, and I have that with me.
more or less the whole story.
And do you know which book it is?
No, it's actually the first collection.
Oh, the whole
the whole collection.
collection. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
one of the very first to be published of all the Shakespeare novels.
And then you've kept that?
Yeah, I have it. He also has some kind of lens. I keep saying I need to take it to some place, but it's some lens. I don't know if it's a magnifying glass to a camera or whatever it is, but it's something that he had in the 1930s, whatever, and he gave that to me. But I still haven't gotten time to try to figure out what it is, but I have it too.
That would be neat to see. I mean, you could always bring it by here and we can try to help figure out what it was used for.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. Okay, I'll do that. Will you guys do that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if we can help, we will.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, we also have, but when you say heirlooms and stuff, you mean stuff that I have here or just in my family?
Usually things that have been passed down, and they could be things that you even kept from Oklahoma, things that you kept from Zimbabwe. Heirlooms are, anything that's been passed down.
Well, I mean, I was saying, but for example, he has one of the Taylor sewing machines from way back then, you know, the manual one, but even older than what, most of the time when I see the ones here, I'm like, no, because he's got like a really, really older one. Yeah. But I don't have it here.
No. The next one is, what is the most memorable moment or experience in your life?
When I had my daughter. I had decided I didn't want kids. You know, coming from a family of 7, I'm like, no, I don't want kids. And my husband and I were married for a long time. And then at 36, just before I turned 36, I'm like, you know what? I might be making the biggest mistake of my life. I'm going to have a child. Yeah, so yeah. When she was born, and she had all her fingers and all her legs.
Yeah. That's a good feeling.
Yeah.
And the labor's over at that point.
Yeah.
What is your vision for the future of your life in Coquitlam?
My vision, I am going to run for council.
Oh, wow.
Probably not this next one, although some people keep saying, you need to do it. But I
Never
think...
too late to start.
I know. Well, I'll just leave it at that. I won't put any timeline, but I am going to run for council. But my ultimate goal is to be MP. I want to, because the platform that I want to run to help the people of Coquitlam will be better served when I'm an MP.
Those are some good goals.
Pardon me?
Those are some good goals.
Thank you. Those are my big, hairy ass goals.
And then the last one is, what is your vision for the future of heritage in Coquitlam?
Yeah, I absolutely love what you guys are doing. And as I talk to you on the phone, one of the things that has been missed in the heritage and capturing, the history is the black people and other cultures that are in the minority.
Yeah.
We are very much a part of Coquitlam, and I think it's really good that you guys are reaching out to people that are not the majority, right? Because it's very easy to go with the people that have a lot of people, people that have a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I see the future of heritage in Coquitlam being very multicultural and diverse to represent the people that
Yes.
now we call Coquitlam home.
I mean, Millardville for the longest time has been known as the area for the French Canadians that came over, but there's not enough stories being told about the fact that when the French Canadians came over, the people there greeting them at the train station were the South Asian workers and the Asian workers who were being displaced at the lumber mill.
Yeah.
Because they were coming in. So those are the stories that we're trying to tell at the moment, because for the longest time no one really talked about it. And it's good so that people can see the multiculturalness that was in Coquitlam for the longest time, and it's not something new. It's always been like that. So it's important for people to see that, and we're really moving towards being more inclusive here. So
Exactly. Okay, that's really good. I really love that you're going that way. And I've got someone that I need to recommend for you.
okay.
If
If you have anyone else you feel that we should talk to, interview, or if they have stories, we'd love to meet up with them and talk to them as well.
Yeah. Her name, she's from Nigeria, and she's one of the doctors that came in and challenged the system so she can become a doctor here.
Yeah.
And was told you can't do it, right? And like the process is just impossible.
Yeah, there's a lot of paperwork and tests and.
Yep. And she did it. Her husband is the one that Anthony, as a poeta, is a good friend of mine from the business world, and he has been mom, and she has been in Chile work. After she finished and graduated, the province actually put her to be. She takes care of Agassiz, Chile work, and one of those other little towns over there, and staying away from her family, but quite a compelling journey and story to tell. That is very much. Oh, but no, she's not in Coquitlam. Yeah, she's
It's actually
just.
the Chilliwack City Archives.
No. She's in Poco.
Oh, Poco.
She lives on Westwood, just one street over from Coquitlam.
Okay.
Yeah.
She could probably talk to the Poco Heritage Society.
Yeah. Just remember that she's not. Yeah. Well, I think that's pretty much it.